posting $150 a day to riot for
Yes.
pro-Palestinian movements.
Yes.
And per city, depending on the city, you get more money. They're offering almost up to $225, and in
Yes.
Europe as well. So I'm going to get those for Angela.
Yes.
Wow.
I spoke to, there was terrorism task force inside. I spoke to them. I have some intel on exactly who was pushing this, their names, the organizations that they were with. I'm speaking with them. I'll release an article, but I was talking to counterterrorism task force within the building.
I think you should post it, Angela. Sorry to hear you went through that.
I told you it's a jobs program.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, we will be. I'll be doing it via Laura. So I mean, we will be. I'll be doing a whole article on it, a whole hit job on this person. I don't care, whatever. But these people, they're violent. This rally itself, it was indoors, on private property, and like, it was a prayer service. Essentially, they had speakers. It was for prayer. It was for the community. You know, it was supposed to be peaceful, and it turned into a violent, chaotic mess on the outskirts.
Yeah, no, it's tough, Angela. The last time I ran into Antifa, which was totally by accident, they took pictures of me and then they followed me to my car. So I definitely know what you're talking about. Let me head over to Stealth, and then I'm going to head to Dr. Rami.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Stealth. Go ahead. But I was going to go to Steak. I meant Steak. I was looking at Stealth.
Just real quick.
Go ahead.
There's new videos from the atrocity in Israel that have not been released yet. They sent me a few of them. I vomited literally on one of them, so I don't feel comfortable sharing it. We're gonna make a decision as a group, the ones of us that are, doing the big spaces, to tell the truth about what's really happening. You guys have no idea. Like, whatever we've seen so far, which maybe none of you have really seen the worst of it, is 10 times worse than what we've seen. And we've pretty much seen the worst things I've ever seen in my life in terms of war crimes. I mean, stuff that you can't even make up in a Saw movie. So if when the next thing comes out, it's going to be, I don't even know what to say. It's unfathomable. We've never seen anything like it. Worse than ISIS. So.
Thanks, Stealth. I'm going to bounce around. And guys, I know we have a lot of hands, but just bear with me, and I promise that we'll move people around. All right, Steak, what's up, brother? Good to see you. And then I'll head to Dr. Rami. Steak, what's going on?
Crypto, James, Mark, thanks for the space. Always awesome as usual. Thanks for having me up on the stage as well. I just am listening to all these extremely passionate, accounts of what's going on in this country and how the failed Biden foreign policy has spilled onto American soil. And I think my biggest concern right now is a lot of the saber rattling we saw this morning from SecDef Austin after the disastrous trip that Joe Biden had in Israel last week. I mean, we all know that Jordan and Egypt canceled on him. We all know that MBS stood up Tony Blinken on the tarmac in Saudi Arabia for 5 hours and then told him to kick rocks. And then you see the, riot apparatuses already being activated in America here. It's starting to get intense. It's starting to get violent. And just after hearing Austin this morning, I'm still trying to formulate how this shakes out, because when Israel starts their ground invasion of Gaza, there is going to be repercussions. I don't know if they're going to be full-blown war fronts from things like Hezbollah and stuff like that, but any kind of American engagement opens up the door to things that we cannot even imagine here and we haven't seen in such a long time, especially here stateside. And I just don't have any faith in the people that are leading our government right now. There's probably so many people who have been able to infiltrate on the U.S. southern border over the course of the last couple of years. I mean, it's not like Hamas planned this out in a week or two and conducted their operation and massacred all those people in Israel 2 weeks ago without, setting stopgaps up all over the world and activating people all over the planet. And we've seen it with the amount of, violent protests. And for as much as it was Palestinian flags on the first or second day, now you're seeing Hezbollah and Hamas and ISIS flags at all of these rallies, and more radicalized people, they're getting extremely violent. And it's just sad to see. I mean, we don't formulate opinions or tell people which side to pick or what to do or what to say. We kind of put it out there to our listenership on our podcast that you guys know what is right. You have seen a lot of this stuff unfold in real time, and you just know that the way that our government and the American media and entirely the Western media is portraying this right now in any kind of defense of Gaza is an embarrassment. It's a humanitarian disaster, and it's just things that are unspeakable. And I just wanted to touch on one more thing before I jumped off the stage. you guys were talking about that appropriations bill that I'm not sorry, the defense bill that Joe Biden's trying to ram through Congress. If you haven't checked out our podcast yet, shameless plug time, on any downloadable podcasting platform, we had Representative Bob Good on Friday. He stayed late after all the drama to get in with us and give us a great interview. He talked specifically about the Biden failed foreign policy, how the House Freedom Caucus, the 20 and the 8 in Congress who stood up to Kevin McCarthy and got him out of there are looking at it, and what they plan to do to fight back on not just what moving forward with the speakership, because you guys got to remember, in the Speaker of the House race, the only thing that these people are focused on in the Speaker of the House race right now is getting another continuing resolution so they can have the holidays off. It's not about passing appropriations. It's not about single subject spending bills. It's not about funding Israel or Ukraine. They have to get a speaker so they can get another CR passed so they can all go home for the holidays. So just understand, besides the 20 that initially held up Kevin McCarthy in January, and then the 8 who went for the motion to vacate a couple weeks ago, they are the only ones who are fighting to prevent this from happening. And Representative Good was not optimistic in any of the candidates that we talked about, including Mike Johnson, including Byron Donalds, including Emmer, of ever being able to get to 217. He actually said he didn't think Jesus Christ at this point could walk into Congress and come out of Republican conclave and say that I'm running for Speaker of the House and get 217 votes. So just know, as the world continues to fall apart and the situation in Israel is getting to something we can't put back in the toothpaste tube, our congressmen and women up on Capitol Hill, an overwhelming majority of them, over 400 of the people in the House, are only worried about if they're going to be able to go home from Thanksgiving until New Year's and not have to worry about you. So I'll kind of leave it as that. You guys can throw anything back at me you want as well. I hope you guys check out our show. And again, for the hosts, thank you for this great space. It's been very emotional, but I'm glad that I got to be able to participate.
Of course, thanks, Steak. And if you guys don't follow Steak or his podcast, Steak for Breakfast, he always has a lot of great people on there. I'm a big fan of it, so check it out when you get a chance. So thanks, Steak. I appreciate it. We're going to continue moving on here. Going to go to Dr. Rami. Doc, good to see you. And then I'm going to head back to Iran Nationalist Party, and then I'll hit some other hands that haven't spoken. I'll go back to Daniel, and then Ryan, I'll come to you, and then we'll keep bouncing. So, Dr. Rami, all yours.
Thanks for the mic, mate. I am a filmmaker from Australia, so I'd like to share my point of view, and I'll make it short and simple because I just had a coffee. Still early here in Australia. I'm going to hit the bathroom really soon. So I've been covering protests for the past couple of years, ever since lockdown started. And for the past 3 weeks in Australia, Sydney specifically, we had pro-Palestine protests that I've been to. And there's a lot of confusion going on there. What I see is a lack of Arabic understanding. So there's a lot of these protesters that speaks in Arabic and have Arabic culture. I'm Arab myself. And there's a lot of people that don't understand what's really there and what's really happening, like from the English point of view, like the people who don't speak Arabic. There's other things that are going on, like justifying and glorifying jihad, for example, which is, I see that's happening there, while the next guy next to that person doesn't know what's going on. There's a lot of confusion within the protest, and there's a split between intentions. To BZ point, I do see a split in actually what these protesters want. I do see, people who are chanting "river to the sea," and I see people who are wanting just de-escalation. But the majority wants escalation, which is quite crazy to me. That people want that, and. In terms of, I come from Iraq myself. I've been watching the news coming out from Iraq, and it's terrifying. People don't understanding, going back to that point I tried to make earlier about glorifying jihad. People don't understand what's going to come out of Iraq. People who are, wanting people to go and fight for Palestinians, they mixing the two together, jihad and resistance, and they trying to blur the lines. They don't understand what's going to come out of there. And I've also been to multiple spaces here, that Arabic speaking spaces. Okay, some of them are, like they actually talking about jihad and taking it to the next level, and the others are talking about de-escalating stuff, specifically from the Saudis. The Saudis are trying to, calm things down, and the Egyptians as well, reach a solution, reach a peace plan, but everybody else is going crazy, and it's crazy to me. But if you guys have any questions about the protests that happened and what's really going on in long length and details, let me know, please. I'm going to hit the bathroom now. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. Thanks, Doc. We will keep going on, and good to hear from you. I'm trying to get my train of thought here. Let me head over. Let me see here. I've just brought up Dr. Ghassan. Toss your hand up for me if you want to talk. AB, good to see you. Throw your hand up if you want to chat. I'm getting DMs that the space is now blocked. People are sending me the screenshots of it where it says space details not available.
Let
Mark, go ahead.
me drop out and see if it's me, and then everybody, could you retweet the space and let me see if they're messing with me. So let me see if it's me,
Okay.
and I'll come back. Okay.
Okay. So anyway, so people are just.
Hey, Crypto.
Oh yeah. James, go ahead.
Let me just ask. I just want to ask the Australian a quick question, because he's covering the protests, and I wanted to know: are you seeing, basically complete morons in your country like we have here, where you got queers for Palestine? Like those are the dumbest people to me. Like these people will get thrown off a building in Palestine. Is the same thing happening in Australia?
That is correct. So the white people who are showing up to these protests in Sydney are two factions. One is a socialist and the other is a queer. And it's funny you've mentioned that, because when I hear the Arabs talk, and I'm not talking about everybody, because most of these protests are not as insane as you guys have. It's mostly peaceful. There's a lot of women, there's a lot of kids. However, the youth that are on testosterone and the people that are like really outrageous say shit in Arabic like, look at this queer guy, or look at this socialist guy, we're coming after them, after this, like they say in Arabic and laughing at the guy and smiling with the guy, and the guy doesn't know what's going on. Okay, so it's crazy to me. I was interviewing a rabbi yesterday, and he put it exactly the way you put it. He said, these are cows who are lining up to Mackey's, to McDonald's. So it's crazy.
Wow. James, any follow up before I go to Mark?
No, let Mark go.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
buddy.
I'm glad, James, you asked that to the doctor. You guys know I went to Philly the day after the I guess the attack began, and then subsequently the very next day in New York. And I don't want to quantify it, right? I'll just tell you that it's very, very obvious when I went in New York and I was amongst the crowd. You could see the true pro-Palestinians. You could almost detect and tell who made their complaints about land, who made their complaints about laws or oppression or whatever, and then you could also find the serious anti-Jewish sentiment. It was they don't hide it, right? Then a large amount of people, as this protest moved on, is they would just pick up people. And a lot of them were just other U.S. social justice warriors, like James, like you described, the queers, the gays, LGBT, all this stuff was happening. And they're just sort of tacking on. And I call them, in the greatest accurate sense of the word, ignorant. They're actually ignorant of literally the formation that they're getting in, and what they're quote unquote standing for, quote unquote supporting. They're almost in their minds it makes complete sense, but anybody that's educated on the facts are just baffled by them quote unquote joining the movement. So that's just my observation. It's measurable. You can see it. They make the claims known. I think it's kind of unfortunate. I think it's really weird, and certainly it's pretty easy to catch them in their own contradictions. But Crypto.
Yeah. Thanks, brother.
Hey, Crypto. I invited
yep.
the intelligence guy from Cairo to the space.
Okay.
So if you see him, it's an M. Okay, he'll come in because I sent him an invite. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, sure. And if I miss them, just let me know and send me a DM because I have a bunch of requests I'm trying to handle. So, Doc, let me go back to you. I'm going to go to Dr. Rami, then I'm going to drop down to Iranian Nationalist Party, then I'm going to head over to, just so you guys know, Dr. Ghassan, and then AB. So, Doc, go ahead. Dr. Rami, go ahead.
Thank you. One more point I would like to make, and that is in regards to the white people who are sharing videos and to the queers who are sharing videos about Palestine and about what's happening in Gaza, which is absolutely heart-wrenching. It's so sad. A lot of these videos that are getting shared, they have Arabic songs playing in the background, and people don't understand what's going on in the lyrics. They're sharing videos of children dead and or under the ruins, and these videos and the songs and that's playing in the background, it's literally saying kill the Jews, wipe the Jews, and blah blah blah. Most of these songs that are coming out are about the song. Sorry, about the war. It's calling for the killing of the Jews and wiping the Jews, and yeah, like it's ridiculous to me that people don't even understand what the song is saying, and they're sharing it, especially the Jews who are sharing these songs that are Jews for Palestine, that they exist here in Sydney, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, that whole group just has me absolutely confused. But no, you're absolutely right, Doc. There's a there's a group there that they're either misguided or they're just I was talking to Ron Coleman, I think, last week about it, and just a lot of them are playing dress up. I'm not really sure if they're even Jewish, but anyway, let me head down to Iranian Nationalist Party. We'll go to you, and then I'll hop over to Dr. Ghassan and to AB. Go ahead, bud.
Yes. So a couple of people talked about why they're so upset and frustrated, why people are going on the streets and waving Hamas flags. My apologies if I repeat this again. The IRGC has invested for 40 years. They have invested in this such infrastructure to change people's mind. That's what they've been doing. They have people in colleges, universities to change people's mind about Palestinian and Israelis relationship. Now, I might sound radical on your space, but by the way, thank you so much, Crypto, allowing me to speak. I really appreciate you. Because even your new cons, the ones who say pro-Trump, they're actually going sideways. There was one space who was allowing, the lady was allowing Hamas protesters talking and giving their side. There is no Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist entity. I don't know how else to say it. Hamas is a cockroach, a byproduct, is a waste, is a sewage of IRGC. Is a sewage of IRGC. Is a waste. IRGC created them to attack Israel. Now, someone on the call said Hamas not like Iran. Iranian government doesn't like its own people. You kidding me? I think it was Daniel. And Daniel, I'm not going against you, my friend. I understand what you were saying. But IRGC doesn't care about its own people. IRGC is not a nationalist. IRGC is not Iranian. They have two causes I mentioned, two doctrines. Get the Shiite doctrine across the whole Middle East and then wipe out Israel off the map.
Hey, INDP.
That's it.
Thank you, bud. If you want to speak again, just please do me a favor and just relocate. Just the party's getting a little loud over there. But thank you, guys. We're gonna. I'm gonna hit as many of these hands. I don't know the order, so we're gonna go. Get your comments out and let's keep it moving because a lot of people want to talk. I want to give them the time. So, let me see here. I'm just gonna go grab some new people. Doctor Gassan.
Yes.
Gassan. Okay, doctor, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Crypto, and everybody for allowing me to talk in this space. So I would like to echo INDP for also like mentioning, the influence of the Iranian, not the Iranian regime that we would like to have, but the Malali's regime. Um, it's really nasty. They're doing that nasty job all over the Middle East, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Gaza, in Iraq, and the best way or the only way to deal with the octopus is actually to hold it from its head, and all the chaos is from the head. And for the last 40 years, the Middle East was in that chaos because of the Iranian regime. I think it's time to point the pointer where it should be, to the Malalis. Other than that, we're just bluffing. We're just doing nothing. Um, and the guys exceeded the limits in what they're doing, funding, supporting, training all the militias and the non-state actors in the Middle East. All is done by those terrorists, those Nazis, those anti-Semitic. Who said that the historical relation between the Persians and the Jews um, is only presented by the Malali's regime? There are amazing people in Iran. Shah Riza Pahlavi is one. Other people who are like with different political perspectives other than the Malalis. This regime needs to go. There cannot be peace in the Middle East with the exist. We cannot coexist with terrorism. We cannot.
Doctor, what are you advocating for here? You talking about military action or what?
No, actually, there are the regime in Iran right now is very weak. Is very weak. Actually, um, Prime Minister Bibi has the moment to either be Menachem Begin or to be David Ben Gurion. It's up to him to choose um, if he wants really to see a real change and to turn to be one of the great kings of Israel, building peace. He needs to aim in the right direction. And the right direction is known where. And guess what? Israel in Menachem Begin's era was strong enough and brave enough to head and do a very courageous operation against the nuclear auxiliaries in Iraq. Is Bushehr very far? I don't know. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Doc.
Can I just ask something to the doc? So I don't think Iranians are weak right now. They've made $150 billion since this administration on oil, and they're making more every day. And they just funded a coup. But Hamas originated out of Cairo, out of the Muslim Brotherhood, through a cleric. Yes, they're getting funding through IRGC, but they also get it from Qatar and also the Russians and other entities. Even out of Venezuela, there's a lot of Hamas and Hezbollah down there. And they're working with the cartels, the Hezbollah, especially for drug trafficking. So I think it's naive to assume that the Russians are not fully ready to do something, and also that they're weak. They've just pulled off a major, how would you say it, surprise attack with Al Qaeda trained, a brigade of the most extremist kind, and we haven't seen all of them yet. They're a little bit of the masterminds that we thought they weren't, and we know that. And by the way, Israel helped Iran with armament in the 80s, if you don't remember.
In the 80s, though,
because
that
they were
was the
fighting war.
80s.
Yes.
Now you're saying
Yes,
that
in the
if
80s,
the
yes.
Israeli fighters would bomb the nuclear power plants in Iran, then the Russian will
Yeah.
shoot down the Israeli fighters? I doubt.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, the Israelis are not going to use a nuclear weapon in Iran or anything like that.
Not nuclear weapon. I'm
Yeah.
talking about an ordinary.
Yeah.
Should
I totally get it that every Persian has a huge boner for a place from tip to tail is a 4-hour drive, like from LA to Vegas, to go and bomb in Iran. But you've got the U.S. military. Iran, through its proxies,
Hold
have hit
on.
72 U.S.
He said he
installations.
wasn't, and I asked him if he's advocating for military action.
Yeah, he is. He wants Israel to go and bomb Iran for him. So the U.S. has had 72 of its installations hit by Iranian-backed militias, including they've armed the Houthis in Yemen to fire Scud missiles, I believe, right? Scud or cruise missiles, cruise missiles across the water towards their ships. Whoever's smiling,
That
can
is
tell me which
correct.
one it is. I think it's cruise. Okay, thank you. So they have been pushing and encroaching, and they're paying people to go and ride in these other countries. The IRGC is funding that as well. So is the Qataris. So is the Russians. They're a big fun party. And wait until we start talking about North Korea. But my point is this: is Israel's not going to do it now. They may do something strategic, but definitely it's going to be U.S. because they have been hitting U.S. sites and embassies. And they had to take everybody out of Lebanon from the U.S. embassy, and then in Jordan, and then in Egypt, and then in Turkey, they're at risk now. So they can fuck around and find out with the U.S. of fucking A. Israel has a five country front on top of their head, and they need to go handle that. Nobody pulls out 700,000 soldiers out of nowhere in Israel because something is coming. That's why you have those ships over there, and the Chinese aren't going to do shit.
Thanks, Stealth. Mark, I'm back. I'm going to kick it over to you, though. Just want to go up to James. He's a co-host, and down to AB. AB's up, and then Alex. Good to see you. I just brought you up, so Alex, we'll get to you soon. So, James, all yours, man, and then we'll go down to AB.
Thanks. Real quick comment. On my way to the beach here in Waikiki, I just drove past a Palestine protest with a bunch of freaks. So I just wanted y'all to know I told them all that they were fucksticks and flipped them all off as I drove by. And then the Israels were on the other side, and we, of course, were all honking our horns supporting Israel. So fuck these people that are terrorist sympathizers in our country. But I had a question for the Iranian people that were in the room, and I think it's appropriate because if we look at our history and we see that basically in many ways it's the United States' fault because of a bunch of retards that were in our government that we did a regime change in Iran the first time around. It looks like because of what's happening now and the Hamas really overplaying their position that basically Israel's had enough and now we're going to kill all you fucksticks. And so Bibi's basically straight up said there's a target on two of your big players, the Ayatollah and the president in Iran, for what they have done. And straight up said if Hezbollah comes in from Lebanon that they're going to go after you in Iran. So my question is, what's that power vacuum look like? I mean, we talked about it before where, essentially the same play that Donald Trump made, he's going to shove a J dam down their asses while they're in their bathroom. What's that power vacuum going to look like, though? Now we're going to have another regime change. So, if that happens, again, that's a qualifier here. If the Ayatollah gets taken out and if the guys that are in charge of the government get taken out, what does that power vacuum look like in country?
Can I respond?
Let me go to Daniel first. I think he was going to do that, and then I'll come to you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, this is an argument we hear a lot, and I understand the trepidation of Americans hearing regime change, considering Iraq, the Iraq War and all that. But I will say, first of all,
I'm not
getting you started. Iran is fundamentally different than every other Arab country. It's not an Arab country, but then all the Arab countries. It's an actual country with history and culture dating back thousands of years. There is a unifying national identity to Iran that predates any sort of complaints you have about British, blah, 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 and the French and Sykes-Picot, there and that. So it's fundamentally different on that aspect. But two, my bigger argument here with regime change, you are literally in the worst case scenario right now with Iran. The government or regime in Iran is currently worst case scenario. There is no possible way that anything could get worse than the Islamic Republic. Now, you could have a lateral movement, right? You could say the MEK could come in, or even ISIS, and this would be just the same. Well, then you've gone laterally, right? You cannot go down from this. And right, even if ISIS takes control of Iran, there's no ISIS in Iran. I'm just on the 0, 0, 0, 0. I'm just hypothetically ISIS. mental exercise here. If ISIS takes over Iran, then what do you have? Well, do you have a extremist Islamist government that's repressive towards women and minorities, right? I have a friend who is in a political prison with a Baha'i kid who was under 18, but he was set to be executed for his third violation of being Baha'i. So, like, you would have a government hell bent on world domination, and you might even say ISIS is better because it would be more of a mask off. They wouldn't have this whole fake democracy around them where, oh, there's reformists, there's a hardliner, Ahmadinejad's gone, oh, good, Rouhani. Like, you wouldn't even have this. At least people would know that this is ISIS instead of ISIS with a very fancy hat and a fake democracy slapped on top of it. So currently, the Islamic Republic of Iran doesn't give a shit about their own people. The Independent Iran Party, sorry, my Iran Nationalist, made the good point. The IRGC, their main arm, it's not the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. It's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The IRGC has openly said it's not Iranian, and its goal is to spread the revolution to the globe. Like, you're in worst case scenario where we have a well-funded, determined, sophisticated, government that doesn't care about its own people and is hell bent on world domination and Western infiltration. This is worst case scenario. So if there's a power vacuum, yes, a bad guy could take control of Iran, but I don't see it. This is not Iraq. It's not Syria. It's not anywhere else in the Middle East. There is national identity. There's unifying. There's an actual figure who could potentially unite the country. I think, it might not be his party, but you might look at Pahlavi, right, as the return of the Shah, as a stabilizing force. There isn't an easy comparison between Iran and other countries, and I think a lot of my Iranian friends in this space kind of, I think, agree with my synopsis that it's a fundamentally different nation. You could say it's so diverse. Yeah, you got Kurds, you got Baloch, you got Arabs, you got Turks, got Azeris, got Persians. All of these people at some point have been rulers of the country. All of them, right? At some point in the history, the very long history, have been the king of Iran in some way. So it's not like an absolute Middle East power vacuum chaos where it's just different in-faction and tribes fighting, because the Middle East is just which tribe is the strongest, they get the crown. There is a cohesive.
Hey, can I Daniel, let me interrupt you real quick because I think you completely are coming at my question from the opposite position that I was coming from. And it's that, listen, let me be clear. I will pull the trigger myself to kill these fuckers, okay? Like, that is not my question. My question is not coming from the fact that I fear anything. My question is coming from, for example, we're pretty certain in my circles that a lot of the information that we saw, let's say last year before, out of Iran was being obviously led to us by our own government. So my question is, are the people of Iran going to take back their country, or is just some other dickhead going to take the power vacuum position like another Ayatollah waiting in the wings? That was the thrust of my question, is that, yeah, let's kill these fuckers.
They're not able
but
to. They're not able to, James.
Right.
Can I
I mean, in the
respond?
hypothetical that the regime gets toppled, I do think there's enough internal momentum to give the Iranian people a. Sorry, I just got a phone call coming through. I do think there's a better chance the Iranian people have than other countries here. You're right; it's not 100%, and there is a power vacuum. The CCP and the Russians have investments in cheap Iranian oil that flows from a despotic regime to them. So yeah, there will be challenges and other factors at play, but I don't give it a non-0% chance.
Crypto, can I respond if it's okay with you?
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'm gonna go up to
Yeah,
Alex.
I'm gonna keep it short. So, if you asked me this question 10 years ago, James, I would have told you no. If you're asking me now, I'll tell you that yes, the Iranian people are ready for a change. Now you're gonna ask me how and why. This is not about because they want democracy. It is not about because they want freedom. You know what it is about, James? It is about them feeding their family. The gross domestic product, GNP, I'm giving you guys facts. I know you guys are smart
Yeah, but
people. I'm not trying to educate you guys, people.
is that gonna rally a revolution? Some
Can I
GDP
speak?
and
I was trying to.
some better
No, no. Let me
food on
find
the
it. Let me
table.
find out. Finish. Let me finish.
Please,
I
please, we got
apologize.
other hands.
Okay, then I shut up then. Okay, that's fine.
No,
Do you want other hands to talk?
Oh Jesus, no! I'm just telling you. You know, you come so passionate about revolution, but you're talking some GDP and you know some better food on the table. Is that enough to rally an entire country for a revolution? That was my
Yes,
question.
it is. Mark, it is.
Okay, all right.
The people are dying. People are dying. They're selling their body parts to feed their family. There are posters on the street saying, I sell a kidney, that's my blood type. Women are selling themselves, mothers are selling themselves. This is Iran really wanting a change. They know the government is corrupt. See, the thing is, Iran is not Iraq, and Iran is not Syria. Iran is not Jordan. These are countries who were built after 1945, after Second World War, after the Ottoman Empire pact. Iran is 5,000 years ago. These are people with pride, with traditions, with culture. Now, what has happened in Iran, it was about one dictator after one dictator after one dictator. Are we moving towards democracy? Yes, we are moving towards democracy. If you understand the path of democracy, if you understand history, the
Are we going to
path
see it anytime soon? Are we going to see this revolution anytime soon?
anytime soon, yes, but people have to pay attention to it. In 2022, Mahsa Amini died. Everyone went on the streets. In one day, 1,500 people got executed, murdered, raped, thrown from rooftops, raped, tortured. Did you see that in the media? No. Did anyone talk about it? No. Some Western countries talked about it a little bit. Some governments said we're going to support them. But the thing is, this is a unified, collaborated coordination. If we all on this space believe in democracy, I'm not about passion, my friend. I'm not radical. I'm an ordinary human being who has been out of his country 44 years. I lived in refugee camps. I came to the United States with $200 in my pockets. $200. I lived in group homes and foster homes. Do I want to go back home? Yes. Do I want to go back home and die? Yes. I have not seen my home. The thing is, the West.
If I can ask,
let me finish.
No, I just have a question. No, it's okay. You can keep going. I just have a question. Where are you now? I'm not asking like where are you exactly now. Just are you in the United States? Are you in Canada? Like just what country are you in now? That's all I was asking.
Just unmute, but I had to control it a little bit.
Oh, INDB. Go ahead and unmute. I was just asking what country are you in now?
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles, in United States of America.
Okay, gotcha.
The country that fought for freedom, the country that believes in human rights and dignity and pride. But behind the scenes, they deal with the mullahs. Behind the scenes, they deal with terrorists. It is us, you, me, everyone on this space. Our responsibility to demand those people who fought, who lost their children in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Vietnam, in North Korea, even in Germany. What was that for? Are we just really serving the corporations? Are we serving the contractors? Because you know what? Listen, I know I don't sound like you guys. I do know that. I understand that. You don't like my language. You don't like the way I speak.
Hold on, hold on.
No, let me finish.
I'm not taking that. What are you talking about? You've had more time than anybody. We're being nice to you. Now you're telling me nobody likes you because of the way you sound and you speak. No, that's not the case at all. We're giving you plenty of time.
Can I finish that? Can I finish my thought? Just
Don't finish.
let me finish my last thing. Then you could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Pause. Let me
Go ahead.
finish.
Good.
It's not a disrespect to you, my friend. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the way I speak is a little bit aggressive and passionate. The thing is, what has happened in this world is we have let wars to profit corporations. Look at all the Twitter spaces. I even went to the new cons Twitter spaces. There was some girl, lady who actually I was following. She was letting pro-Hamas people to speak. And they were saying, let me hear other side. There is no other side, Mark. There is no other side. The other side is IRGC. This is the same entity. I don't want to call it the regime or a government because they were not elected. This is the same entity, a cartel, like mafia, who kills its own people, rapes 16 years old, 11-year-old girls and boys. 11-year-olds. Your own children, my child is 16 years old. They rape them and they throw them from the rooftops. The thing I'm trying to accomplish here, I want to ask you guys, don't make this about Hamas. Don't make this about Israelis versus Palestinians. Don't make this about Israel versus Arabs. Don't make this about Jews or Muslims or Christians. This is not religion or ethnicity. This is about humanity and terrorism. This is about humanity and evil. You remember Hitler, Crystal Night, when they went outside?
All right, we're gonna thank you, bud. We just have too many hands. You made your point. It's
Did I
about
go now?
evil.
I think Crypto had said, I think it was my turn. Might have
Yeah.
been skipped.
Yeah, go ahead.
AB, go ahead, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Good to see you guys. And Mark, I hope you're doing well. I don't know if you've been covering more protests or not, but good to see you again.
Soon I'll be back in the streets.
Right on, man.
You're gonna come to our space, right?
What's that?
You're gonna come live stream to my space, right?
I would love to. Okay. Just listen. I'll say it real quick then, Stealth and ABS. If you guys have intel on a really good one you want me to be at, my time is valuable, so I gotta pick my shots. So
Chicago. Angela was reporting. She was here half an hour ago, whatever it was. Chicago seems to be a hot spot for in general for militancy, whether it's Antifa type militancy or Black nationalist militancy or pro Hamas militancy. So that might be a good place to look. Just an idea, but we'll look for the schedule.
Yep,
but just a couple points I wanted to cover. I noticed me and Stealth posted one of the same articles from Hussein Abu Bakr Mansour, who's fantastic, one of a true reforming Muslim. But just a couple things. Number one, about the sort of getting back to the focus on the Palestinians themselves. One thing and I've been studying and reading and learning about this conflict, the broader Arab-Israeli conflict, which sort of includes Iran a little bit, even though they're not Arab, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. One thing that's very unique in a bad way, and this is historically true, and I brought it up in a bunch of spaces, in anti-Israel spaces, and anti-Semitic spaces, and Groyper spaces, and mixed spaces, and pro-Israel spaces, and no one's yet said that I'm proven that I'm wrong. One thing that's unique about the so-called Palestinian independence movement that differentiates itself from every other one that I'm aware of, at least in the last couple hundred years, is not the terrorism aspect, although they did sort of bring international terrorism to the fore. It's not the violence against the people who they're fighting against for independence. That's, the IRA has done that, Basque separatists, even Quebec against Canada has done that, right? That part's unique, although the level is unique. What's unique is that their number one goal is, contrary to what sometimes you'll hear from stupid white people who are latch onto it in universities. Their number one goal is not, I repeat, is not their own independence. The number one goal is the destruction of another people or another cause. The IRA, for all of their violence and terrorism and all that other stuff, and they killed civilians, they killed soldiers. So that they never wanted to destroy Great Britain. They were like, we want to kill you until you give us independence, right? Or we're gonna fight you until you give us independence in Scotland and the Basques and Quebec, and a million other examples you could think of throughout the world. That is different with the Palestinians. Their number one goal, and the way you can tell that, is that the PLO itself was created in 1964. Okay, that's 3 years before Israel captured the Judea and Samaria, popularly known as the West Bank, or Gaza, or the Golan Heights, or the Sinai Peninsula, which they all captured in that war, right? When 5 Arab armies attacked them. So their goal has always been essentially nihilistic. That is not an opinion. That is a fact borne out by their own words and their own documents. Hamas specifically adds the religious component to it. If you look at their charter, again, their number one goal is not their independence of Palestine. Their number one goal is the destruction of the Jewish people worldwide, by the way, not just specific for them. It is essentially a nihilistic goal. And if you ever needed any more proof of it, to bring me to the next point about the Palestinian movement, you see the shit that we see now in these Western countries is beyond belief. Have you ever imagined in the history of the world that we would see a massive terrorist attack against any group? I don't care if it's Sri Lankans or Nigerians or Americans, tragically on 9/11 and other times, and thousands upon thousands of people come out at that exact moment, okay? Not just generally to support a Palestinian cause, but to support them at that moment. And what was unique about that moment, besides the scale and of the atrocities, was that the atrocities themselves, atrocities were broadcast by the jihadists themselves. They fucking wore GoPro cameras. They had Telegram channels as they were live streaming this shit to their own people as they were doing it. So nobody can say, especially Arab-speaking people, that they don't know exactly what they were supporting. They were supporting a generalized Free Palestine movement. They know exactly, excuse me, in vivid, gory, disgusting, murderous, raping, kidnapping, torturing, mutilating detail exactly what they're supporting. And so I've never been, I've been for a long time pretty much an immigration hawk. I don't have any problems about individual people from any country, but I've never been a bigger immigration hawk than I am today. And I've never been a bigger culture warrior than I am today. So I don't care. I'm not trying to make it a thing, but I don't care. I want a Republican to win the next presidency, whoever it is, right? It's incredibly important. You see the rot, the absolute to the core rot that's coming out of our most prestigious institutions, right? This is all shit stemming from our education system. The fact that the Harvard Student Union, there was an article in the Times, and when one of the Harvard student union groups, when she heard about the attack, her first instinct was to run and draft a statement expressing solidarity with the Palestinians at that moment, right? Shows that the most prestigious institutions in our country are putting out morally deranged and completely retarded human beings, okay? And that's not an exaggeration. So the culture war is extremely important. If President Trump or Ron DeSantis, I don't give a shit who the fuck it is, wins the next election, it is a very high priority to wage a culture war against all this stuff. And it has a million manifestations. It has the Antifa manifestation, has the BLM manifestation. And because of their intersectional kind of mentality, right? These people are all in collusion with each other, right? The so-called red-green alliance, the commies and the Islamists, right? The fact that we have thousands of people in New York and London and Chicago and this and that, or whatever, is coming out and saying this specific type of action, that's what we like. Lighting babies on fire, that's my jam, right? We cannot coexist with people like that. I can coexist with a lot of different people. You like this politician or that politician, you like high taxes or low taxes, even pro-life or pro-choice, even though I have strong differences with all those opinions, right? We cannot coexist with people who think, raping people and parading them down the street, murdering, chopping off babies' heads, which did happen. You fucking deniers. That part's okay. So I mean, it's a massive thing. Border security for our own country, our own societies, and waging the culture war, because we have to take all of these institutions back. The deep state applies not just the government, it applies to higher education, media, whatever it is. If we can't do it legally, we do it culturally. We do it through boycotts, and a lot of times we have to do it through laws. We deport any MRFer who's like, you're here on a student visa and you're saying, Hamas, Hamas, like, bye bye, you're gone immediately. Do not pass go. Do not put up $200. So I put up, me and Stealth both put up, I didn't realize, a great article from this guy, Hussein. I'll land the plane very shortly. What was the tweet here? 1 second, let me just find it. Yes. Sorry, Hussein Abu Bakr Mansour, an article about the Palestinian national cause and how essentially broken and bankrupt it is. And you see the worst people. I'm not saying every person just automatically born there, but the movement, the ideology that spawns the movement, the worst people, they do not get worse. And we're seeing the fruit of it right now. As for Iran, we'll get to Iran, but we got immediate fish to fry. We're gonna have to chop off the tentacles, meaning the people, in this case, the Israelis are gonna have to chop off the tentacles, starting with Hamas. If Hezbollah wants some, they'll get some. That's gonna take off their two strongest kind of support arms, and Iran is probably gonna have to wait for another day unless they decide to get involved right now. In which case, it'll be today. But
and we still have over 20 Americans missing and 10 American
correct.
babies. And
Correct.
people are ripping the posters off the wall. Professionals,
doctors,
yeah.
Who rips posters off missing children off? Right, you're seeing. I must have seen a dozen incidents like this. Right, I wouldn't rip a poster off a missing cat off of a pole. I'm like, oh, let's find the kitty. These people, I've seen like a dozen incidents of people going around ripping off every single
all
poster.
Of them have a PhD or an MD or advanced degree.
Right.
It's
Harvard,
Cornell.
It's so weird. The last one I saw was some chick who's like a model, but also a lawyer. And
her.
Yeah, and she's down in Miami getting her fucking PhD or something, and she's walking around ripping them off. Like, I don't get it.
We're producing like people right for many years. Even when many of us, I'm in my late 30s. Even when many of us were, younger, we were like, oh yeah, it's these wacky college kids, but when they grow up and they won't be that bad, right? They're bad, but they're not that bad, right? But wrong. They are that bad. Anyone who could affirmatively say, now, what's my priority today? Not getting my avocado toast, not going out and having sex, not partying, right? Not smoking marijuana, not going to work, not working out. But it's going to go and going off every light pole on the Fifth Avenue or whatever it is, and pulling every single poster off a missing child, because God forbid the public sees the inhumanity of what I've been supporting for that person's been supporting forever. Disgusting, horrible people.
Just weird shit. And AB, hang around, and I'll come back to you. Yeah, but weird stuff, man. Just these people. And Stealth makes a good point. It's like a lot of these people. There was two people, unfortunately, by me in Miami.
Husband and wife.
There was that, right? The husband and wife. There was that fucking dentist who just got fired.
Yep, good. And he went to court with his, you see his half cleric, half lawyer guy.
Yeah,
who just came right out of Afghanistan. It looks like he just came.
Yeah, so the dentist was down there in Miami doing it, not far from where I am. And then this hot chick who's walking her dog, who's like a model and a lawyer getting a PhD, she's down there. And it's like what's going through your fucking mind? That this is what you're doing when you're walking in. Anyway, we have a shitload of hands. We're going to bounce around. Alex,
but real super quick. I found the article. It's up in the nest. The article is entitled, the one that I was referring to, that everyone should read. It's super smart guy. It's called "The Nihilism of Free Palestine." Tabletmagazine.com. It's up in the nest right now.
Can I get Alex, my brother? Can I get 1 second, 10 seconds before you go? If you want to talk about the culture war, I agree. I put a great video up in the nest on Queers for Palestine. If you have the ability to laugh at some funny shit and the thing, highly recommend the Queers for Palestine by my buddy Ben Bank is up there.
It's right next to the Chickens for KFC article right now.
Okay.
I do like the laughs, Daniel, so I'm gonna have to don't delete these ones, Crypto, because I'm gonna
I'll keep them up. That's funny. Fucking Chickens for KFC. Alex, what's going on, man? I'm gonna come to you, and then we're gonna keep bouncing around. Let me see here. Just want to check. We're going to go to, I'm going to mispronounce your name, so I apologize, but Anarug Batari, I apologize mispronouncing it. Going to come to you after Alex. I think it's Kennedy, right? Alex, you're up.
Yeah, no, thank you so much to you co-hosts for this wonderful space and the topics that are at hand. A lot of what was said by nationalist parties, so I'll just go ahead and just share to everybody who I am. I'm an Iranian who has been in the U.S. for a while now, but I still got family back home who are dead because of this regime. So I'll just eloquently land my plane a little bit shorter that inside Iran, we don't support the massacre that took place. I always tell people that the regime is not Iranian, so it's an occupation. And we have been fighting for 44 years. And I'll just, the question was earlier asked that What will happen if there is a revolution? We've had a revolution since last year. Masa Amini's death has united everybody. It doesn't matter if you're whatever ethnic group you are. I'm Kurdish myself, but I call myself a proud Iranian. We're unified for one thing. We want to have peace in the Middle East. We do not want to see Israel's attack. It pisses me off what I've seen in this country with the extremism just rising. Colleges, they have the black flag, they have the Hamas flag. In parts of Australia, I saw the Taliban flag. Like, this is literal warfare. And, we need to fight back, and we need to fight and be on the right side of history. So I always tell people that, in Iran, we love the Jewish people. We have history between our two cultures and communities, and we're united, okay? And Iranians standing with Israel is still trending because that's how we feel. And listen, we understand what needs to take place. I understand that it's gonna be a long battle. We don't want to see a military invention in Iran. We already know what we have to do. We just ask for legitimacy in the sense of, if we're protesting what's happening with the videos, if we're on with these strikes, and everything that's still taking place today. That's how you can help Iranians out. You don't have to. I don't want to see a war. I think that's just going to be the wrong message. We know it's a war for the people. So I'm going to land my plane very quickly with this: is that we are going to see the end of this carnage in the Middle East. I can assure you that. I talk to my compatriots back home every single day, and once this regime, the octopus is gone, all this extremism war, the terrorist attacks, all that will just crumble. And Israel has every right to defend themselves. And if anybody who thinks otherwise, you're the problem, because no one should ever go through seeing babies' heads cut off and every other atrocity that was attached to that. And if you are, you're just a freaking monster. So thank you so much to you amazing co-hosts for letting me speak. I just wanted to say that very clearly. We love Israel, and Iran's regime's on the crumble. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it, brother. I'm going to head over to Mr. Patrai. I'm going to mispronounce it. I apologize, buddy. Are you there? I could be pronouncing it so badly. He doesn't know that I'm calling him. It's the gentleman with the suit and the red shirt. It looks like a red shirt.
Nureg. You might not be listening, Crypto.
Hey, sorry, guys. My bad.
Thanks. Oh, that's okay, buddy. All right, all yours. And then after that, I'm going to head over to Moria.
I hope that you guys can hear me. Sometimes my mic goes in and out. I'm a Nepali origin American, born and raised in Indiana. I wanted to say, first of all, the Red-Green Alliance that has been referenced here. The proper term that the French have already invented is called Islamo-Gauchisme, which is basically Islamist leftism, and it's basically, I think that it's a significant threat to Western values and Western countries in general if we let it continue on. It basically combines the victimhood-loving complex of the left with Islamism. So the worst of two worlds, essentially. And we see that playing out in these whole freaking Queers for Palestine protests happening literally everywhere. It's insane to me. I really cannot understand it. But anyway, moving past that. To my Jewish and Israeli friends in this space, I want to let you know, despite much of the world, maybe your erstwhile allies, disappointing you, coming out with essentially like genocidal adjacent and genocidal period rhetoric, you have gained allies and supporters in places of the world and ethnicities that maybe you haven't even heard of, okay? Because 10 Nepali were killed during the first assault by Hamas. Israel gives work and education to thousands of Nepali. We are a poor people from a poor land, and so we go to other places to work. And, that's just what we do, and there's no reason for us to be killed. Obviously, 30 plus Americans were killed in that assault as well. So I'm gonna let you know, yes, as a dumb kid, I was leftist leaning. I listened to the emotion. I saw the disparity in deaths, and I used, victimhood to define my views. So I was more pro-Palestinian when I was young. I have to admit that. When I was about 20, 21, I was like, well, let me read up a little bit on the history. I saw that Jews had migrated there legally, bought land from the overseers, the British. I saw that when the Balfour Declaration was made, yes, perhaps the Arabs had a right to be angry, but then they unleashed all these pogroms upon the Jews, and then the Jews started creating their own militant groups such as Irgun in order to fight back against the Hamas people and all of Palestine. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll be neutral from now on. And now, after this, I'm not. Okay. After Americans in Nepal are killed, I cannot be. This is a red line. I have to be pro-Israel. I have to be pro-IDF, and I have to say that I might even be a Zionist, to tell you the truth. It's actually a complete 180. So I just want to let you guys know, you do have allies, even if all the world seems to be out to get you. Don't worry. Okay. People are out there to support you as well. All right.
By the way,
So
for those who don't know, I know the people on the speakers do know, but for those who don't know, the only thing Zionism is a very simple definition. The only thing that Zionism is a belief that Jews have a right to a homeland in that area of Zion. That's where the term comes from, Zion, right? If you believe they have a right to a homeland there, not necessarily even instead of anyone else, just a homeland there, that makes you a Zionist. That's it. That's the only definition. That's what it means.
Yeah. Thanks, AB. Much appreciated. Let me head over to Moria, and then I want to head over to Louisville. Louisville. He has an interesting bio. So, Moria, are you there?
Yeah, hi everybody. Good
Hi.
night. Thank you so much for having me. And I listened to the people from Iran, and it's not the first time that I hear the voice of the Iranian that going against the Iranian regime, and they are very supportive of the Jewish people and Israel. And I have a question for them. We are the Jewish people. We are 15 million in the whole entire world. And when I check, there are more than 100 million Iranian in the whole entire world. And I see you very, very often in our spaces, and I hear your voice. I really feel your pain. And like me, like many other people, I saw the picture, and we know about the revolution that you are really trying to do in Iran. But I wonder if you are really supporting of the Jewish people in the Jewish state. Um, why don't you come and protest together with us? And you have so many people around the world, and so many of you lives next to our houses in America, in Europe, in Australia. If I'm thinking about so many people that going against the Iranian regime, that it's many, if you say so, that it's the majority of the Iranian people, so maybe 70 million people is going to stand with the Jewish people. I think our voice is going to be very strong, and we will love your support. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Let's see.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry about that. Was heading over to Louisville. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Louisville. All yours, bud.
Oh, thanks a lot for the conversation. So yeah, I think the problem is, like always, is religion against the people. Well, what I know and what is a fact is that Islam, which is a theocracy of Iran and most of the Middle East and North Africa, is a derivative of Christianity. And I basically see like a flashback of the Dark Ages when they were just burning their own citizens, torturing them, for not being believers, and it took secular people to bring them out of the dark ages into a renaissance, and that's what's going to happen in Iran. And it's going to be led by women, like Joan of Arc and Massa. I see them a correlation between them, and yeah, even in Israel, like it was basically like a religion against their own people. Like they had protests like a few months ago because Tel Aviv, it's pretty much like Miami Beach in a way, and they had to
Are
close
you are
down.
you uh are you are you being serious? Or are you
He is.
Yeah, I
He
am.
is. He is. He
And they
is.
had a
you
so
lost me
anyway,
at
so
Islam's
Tel
a derivative.
Aviv.
Hold on. You lost me at Islam's a derivative of
Yeah,
Christianity,
it's
whatever
it's
that
not
means.
that. Islam promotes death. Christianity and Judaism promote life. So we focus on life on this planet. We don't exalt death to go to some other, other source of life. So by honoring death,
Yeah,
we sacrifice ourselves and our children. We don't believe in that
but
in
I want
Christianity
I
or
want to
Judaism.
I want to let the man speak. I just had to know if he's actually being serious. But he said yes, so I'll take him at his word. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I
bud.
mean, yeah. Mark, I checked his bio. I'm pretty sure he's serious. So good, buddy.
Yes, I am serious. We had even before the Salem witch trials when they were just burning random women by the hundreds of thousands. They did it in Germany in the 1500s. They burned like 100,000 women that they claimed to be witches, and wasn't. It's just always been a weapon against the people. And as I was saying, like a few months before, you have Israelis protesting against the Netanyahu government because he was trying to lead them towards a theocracy. And many people, like in Tel Aviv especially, it's pretty much like Miami Beach, and they have to close their businesses down on Saturdays because the capital city is
No,
Jerusalem,
the only place
which
they have to
is
close down is Jerusalem, not in Tel Aviv. So you're mistaken
no,
there.
no.
No,
Jerusalem is the
no, I know.
capital,
I've
so
lived there. No,
it
Jerusalem
controls everything.
Jerusalem closes down, not Tel Aviv. That's all open. The rest of the country's all open. Only Jerusalem and the holy site is closed down on the Sabbath.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
liquor stores in Philly are closed on Sunday. I mean, what are we getting at here?
And what I'm getting at is like
Also,
they just haven't.
the protests
Okay,
were about judicial reform of the Supreme Court, not about a religious
yeah, I
theocracy.
was trying to
You
make a
need to
point.
research it.
Yeah, hold on. All right. So anyway, those people was protesting against Netanyahu, and now Egypt. You had the intelligence one in Israel, like 3 to 10 days before, and it seemed like they just the far right in Israel just allowed it to happen because those was probably the people that was protesting against them. It did happen. It was a festival on a Saturday, so these are probably not religious people,
Thank
and
you.
I think that's the
So
reason why they
no,
allowed it to
it was on
happen.
a Friday night actually on Simchas Torah, and the people
Yeah,
that
it's
they hit were
still
the
a Sabbath.
kibbutzim. Yeah,
It's
no,
still the Sabbath,
so
but
Friday and
anyway,
Saturday, yes, but it was also a holiday. But when
it's
they
still the
hit,
Sabbath.
it was
Okay.
Friday night, and they hit the southern area, which were not religious. They don't observe the holidays, so that they hit the kibbutzim, which are the most liberal. They had the party for peace, which were people from all over the world, not religious people, on that
I mean,
Sabbath day.
it's okay. I really don't need to know the schedule of Miami or South Beach or whatever we're talking about. It's okay. Crypto, can we get back to the hands?
Man, Mark, you just don't want to let him cook, do you?
Well, the kitchen is filled with smoke. I got smoke detectors
Yeah,
going
no,
off. Okay.
it's all right.
Uh,
I mean, they that's a hope. That religious belief is a hope, so they don't wanna let it go.
All right, buddy.
no,
Thanks.
but
I
I just literally don't know what you're talking about. It's okay. It's
okay.
okay. It's okay though.
One too many
I
dupes,
don't hate you
Mark.
though.
One too many dupes.
All right, we're gonna. All right, you know what? We haven't heard from Miss G tonight. Miss G, take it away, and then let me see here, and then Parsi, Jesus, Parsons. I'll come to you, and then I see Medi and Ryan and Paige. So we got hands. Got 15 requests still, guys. We're doing our best. Yeah, but yeah, Mark. Listen, I purposely brought him up. I knew he was going to cook a bad dish, but you got to let him cook. Listen, you
My
got to let.
tolerance is
I
different than yours.
I
I
was
let him cook.
waiting. I was waiting for the Miami Tel Aviv connection, man. I was waiting for it.
The 1500s, you know, and it's okay. It's okay though. I don't have to understand it. I've learned that.
Listen, I can tell you, I didn't understand anything he said, but I was waiting for pretty much for Stealth to get pissed off, so which that kind of happens. So
Mark a witch hunter. That's
I
what he
think
said.
I have about 80 to 120 hours of the spaces we've done, so you can actually learn what happened, and it's like very logically done. And you can go to my space and watch all those, and then come back, and then we can have a conversation.
yeah, no, Stealth, having you in here is like the numbers in my space is like the fucking stock market.
I
Like,
know. I'm sorry.
I've been moving from 700 to 2,500 in the matter of seconds.
Yeah,
It's
listen,
crazy.
on a nighttime space, we can get up to 2,000 when I'm in there. I don't think there's a bots, but I see everybody from my spaces are in here. So
yeah, like I was
you guys.
texting. Yeah, no. Thanks everyone. I was texting Mark. I was like, "Hey, we broke 2,500." Then I literally texted him 30 seconds later. Hey, we're at 700. It was just like it's fucking all over the place. So you know what? That's okay though. Miss G's here. Miss G, are you in your Navigator? Are you driving on the highway? What are you doing?
I'm definitely not smoking what the last guy was smoking. So, no, but on a serious tip, because this is a large space, and you know, I want to make something known. I had a nice discussion with Red today, and that's my Jewy girl. Anyway, Riv, I love you. I know you're here somewhere, so I hope you don't mind. I'm sharing our conversation. So basically, you know, because I kind of load the ADL and Max, I went off in a Suleiman space um, just to burn him. You know, I got a few fans that I really, you know, didn't expect, but, you know, I'm not a holy roller, but I am a Roman Catholic. And
You got to fight the propaganda, Miss G. You got to fight
I
it.
have to. So the thing is that, you know, people want to make a big deal about how, you know, a certain sector of Jews. And now, again, I'll remind you, asses, I have family in Beersheba. So, you know, don't talk to me stupidly. And if you come my comments, be prepared for what comes back at you. But anyway,
Miss G's like, listen, I got a story. I spoke to a Jewish guy one time in the 80s. Back the fuck off. All right, back the fuck off.
I have a Jewish friend. But anyway, so what I was going to say is this. You know, there's a certain sector of Jews, they want to spread all over the internet. And, you know, my fellow Christian morons are eating it up. And, you know, hey, listen, you know, my gripe with the ADL was, you know, if you're going to bitch and moan about shit, bitch and moan equally. You know, so that was my take, and it got me a lot of fans. But what pisses me off about these so-called Christians and what's going on and how they're blindly following these foreign entities that are holding spaces that are humongous, that are just looking to radicalize Christians. I'm here to tell you asses, yes, we do have rights to that holy land. And we have never been attacked by Jews. And I don't care if somebody spits on me, because I'm going to spit on your ass right back, and I'll probably throw punch you. But with that being said, Jews and Christians have existed peacefully on the same land. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers will kill your asses over dirt. Okay, so if you're a Christian out there and you can hear me in this space, when someone is trying to radicalize you in spaces on Twitter who isn't even in this motherfucking country, and I'm sorry I'm cursing, but I just get so pissed off when someone is out there, and those motherfuckers won't give me a mic no more, but I'm just here to tell your asses.
You don't say.
I'm what?
I said, you don't say why they won't give you one anymore. I know why, because you're about to hand them their ass. Go ahead.
Well, I've been handing asses out, but anyway, you know, that's my thing. I'm an equal opportunity offender. But I'm here to tell you guys, and I just want to say this honestly, that when it comes to the Islamic faith, and do your homework, because if you think they're going to differentiate when they come to, and they're coming for you, they ain't going to ask you, excuse me, were you a Christian ally? Because you do not matter either. So get this through your head. You might be a groiper out there, rah-rahing, hate the Zionists, but guess what? Your ass is next. Don't be fooled, because it's coming. Because there are Christians in Israel, and their asses die too. The bullets, the bombs, the whatever, the missiles, they don't go, oh, no, don't hit that guy. He's a Christian. So wake up, smell the coffee, drink a cup, and if you need a doob, smoke that. But you really need to realize these people don't love you. They have nothing for you. They hate the Jews, they hate the Christians, and if you aren't following their Islamic faith and their prophet Muhammad, you are nobody, and they're looking to take you over. And I just want you people to know that as you sit in these spaces and you listen to the propaganda they put out, understand where it's coming from and out of the mouths of who it's coming from. So-called patriot Americans.
Thank you, Miss G, for that.
Good Lord, I didn't know that she was done. All right, Miss G. I didn't know anyone called it a doob anymore, but apparently some people do call it a doob still. All right. All
I
right,
was born in
let me see here.
1920. What do you expect?
No. You were
She's a flapper.
I'm a flap.
no,
I'm a hot flapper.
no, you were driving around in the 1920s according to our memes, so you were born before
Listen,
that.
stop
But
pulling my
that's neither here nor
ponytails,
there.
and I love you too.
Love you too. All right, let me head over to Paige, and then I'm going to Medi and Parson. Paige.
I moved all the way back to last.
All
So
right,
you want
fuck
to
it,
interrupt?
Parson. I keep getting DMs from you. Go, Parson.
Well, you keep telling me to interrupt. So I figured
Well, I was
what
trying.
you were trying to get me to do is. So I
I
finally
was.
decided, all right, I'm going to interrupt.
Yes, I was trying to get some spiciness going on, but Mark wasn't having my Louisville guy going.
I should have interrupted earlier than I did, especially mainly because there was some Persians in here, some Iranians in here that can confirm. Listen, we go back to think about COVID. What they do, hide information from us. For you to get people to do the things that they're doing, they have to have a very powerful theology. And the early in this conversation was all about Iran. And just so you guys can have a reference to where I first learned this, I learned this in my living room in Rao St. Johnny, Iran in 1975, listening to Shiite Muslims explain why they did not like Khomeini, okay, and why he was forced out of the country. So I hope you all got a little ink pen and piece of paper down so you can write this down. So I'm going to give you a three-letter word, and it's called QOM, QOM. And when living over there, as you guys know, I lived by Acts 17:11 even before I ever read Acts 17:11, because I think discernment and credibility is immensely important. So when I was reading about Vietnam and reading about a lot of other things when I got back to the United States, and then the Ayatollah, all the things started happening, I started reading about what I was told. So to understand Shiite Islam, there's a big difference between Shiite Islam and Sunni Islam. There is hardcore differences, guys. But on top of that, in Iran, for you to become an inman, you have to go to the city of Qom to study. In the late 1950s, Khomeini became the Ayatollah, which is like the Pope. Okay, and he changed the theology. And you really need to understand this theology to understand who we're fighting. And Keith earlier, he's so right. But we're not fighting the right battle. We're not fighting that theology, because it's the theology of death. Because what Khomeini was teaching in Qom, and what Khomeini was, and the reason why, it wasn't because they couldn't vote for women. He didn't want women to vote. That might have been one of many, but the reason why the Shah got him the hell out of there is he was poisoning the well once they made him an Ayatollah of all the imams in the Shiite faith throughout Iran. How was he poisoning the well? because he was teaching and he taught it to the day he died. Now, I can't speak to the Ayatollahs that came after him, but this is what he built, and this is how he got control of that country. He was teaching that it was their job to destroy Israel and kill all the Jews to bring the 13th Imam out so that the 13th Imam would appear and the apocalypse would come. This is the theology you are fighting. And you can't beat a disease unless you know what it is you're fighting. And that's the disease. So I hope I gave you new information, and I hope you research it and say, oh my God, he's right. Because that's, now you understand the motive. Now, it may not be what those in power believe, but that's what they're teaching. That's what they're using to inspire their men to go out and die for them. Their people to go out and those that are willing, those that bought in. And now you can also understand why Iran is actually really shaky and why they hang people by cranes and why they kill in the thousands. Is because they need to suppress their own people who do not follow that ideology. They believe in the 13th Amendment. That's an important part. They don't believe that it's their job to kill all the Jews and destroy. Am I going somewhere, Crypto?
No,
Or is your mic just
no,
popping?
no. Just I was telling Mark before. I just got kicked out of the space, so I think people are. I think we're having
Okay.
issues, and people are.
Okay, I'll drop down. If I leave, they won't bot you. So there's a bot account in here. I'll send you a screenshot. If you block it and kick
Yeah,
it,
just
perhaps I'm
no. Yeah,
searching.
it's fine.
Okay,
Just go ahead
okay,
and send it to me. But I was just kicked out of the space, and
okay.
then my X closed, so I had to reopen it. And I was telling,
That's
and
yeah.
I was telling Mark prior that I think we're getting botted right now on people reporting the space. So if it
It's
No,
been
they're not
happening to
reporting it.
Stealth.
No. They did a cyber attack for 2 weeks against our
yeah,
accounts,
so
and I don't
yeah, so
understand because they don't like us talking about this because we're
if
saying the
it yeah,
truth.
so
So I'll
yeah,
send you. I'll leave. Don't worry
no,
about it. I'll
no,
leave.
no,
I'll
no,
leave.
it's fine. So I'll just
It's too late, Stealth.
send
Don't
me the
leave.
DM and I'll do what I can. But if the space, but
I will.
if the space closes, guys, it's not me because I just got kicked out. So Parson, go ahead.
All
Yeah.
right, brother. Okay. So again, that's why, and for people to have faith in us, we have to cross our T's. I don't like it when we assume things or we get a single source. I like to have things rock solid. The other thing, so understand what you're actually fighting and question your Congress people about whether they know what we're actually fighting. Because I question that we have any intelligent people within our intelligence in DC, because this is what we've been fighting the whole time. Okay, this is the battle. And that's the battle of ideas. And I don't like knocking people's theology, I stay away from that. But when it's a theology that is calling for the destruction and the elimination of a people to bring upon the apocalypse, that's the theology I'm going to fight against, and I'm going to fight hard against it. And I wanted to plant that. Now, the other thing, I want to kind of bring this back to reality, that this is real. This is real to all of us. I went out Friday and I bought a bunch of cameras, and timing hit right, and the price exploded on them, because I basically own 95% of the market of that product. So I thought, well, I'm going to go donor old customers I haven't talked to in 7 or 8 years. And one of them is a very famous Jewish gentleman, and very famous in Metro Detroit. And I guarantee you know who he is too, if I was to drop his name or name his business, and I'm not going to do that. And I stopped into his business on Friday, and the amount of paranoia that was in that business. And I asked for him, and they're like, and the person that was there didn't know me. Other people, one person recognized me and got me. And they told me the whole family went to Guadalupe. The whole family left the country and they're gone to Guadalupe. Okay, so one of my Jewish customers, who's, and by the way, man, you go back in his office, this guy's loaded for bear. It's the type of business, it's very fortified, loaded for bear. So later on, I went to another customer, and he was a Jewish customer as well. Same thing, guys. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Then I wake up Saturday morning and I find out Samantha Wool has been fatally stabbed out in front of her house at the Detroit, out in front of she is the president of the Detroit synagogue.
So they
People,
actually stabbed her on the inside. Somebody got in and they dragged her body out. So
right?
we've been
Yeah,
following that. Yeah. And it was
yeah.
in Rashida Tlaib's district, I believe, right? So
Yep.
Yeah, yep, yep.
And Rashida Tlaib couldn't even say that she was Jewish or a synagogue present
Yeah, I
there.
think I
right.
think the synagogue is in her district, and she lives right outside the district. But yeah, yeah,
And,
it's close.
and so this is super close to home for me. You guys get that, right? But I want to add another side because I have literally, because there are more Muslims than there are Jews in Metro Detroit. I'm finding the same thing about American born Muslim business owners. They're scared to death too. And one of them I got on the phone um, over the weekend because we have a real close relationship. We don't live far apart. We actually do things together. And he said, I almost said my real name. He said to me, he said, listen, they know I don't go to mosque. They know I don't support all this other shit that's going on in Dearborn. And I'm a target too. And I want you to keep that in mind. Discernment is important. And lastly, when it comes to Russia, Samantha, I just ask you to turn that chessboard around and look at it from the other side. I think I don't see Putin as an enemy. You do. That's the difference between us. But I think if you turn that chessboard around and say, I still don't like Putin, but what is he doing and why is he doing it? You got to, because I actually, as I don't think you were in here when I first started speaking. Maybe you were. You know, if there's a hot spot on the planet and I'm the world's largest nuclear power and I'm at war right now, and there's a whole bunch of shit going down real close to my home. Iran and Russia share the Caspian Sea, along with Azerbaijan, where there's a hot spot. To Turkestan, where we ran a coup, we tried to run a coup that had more murders than what we've seen in Israel. And I'm just saying, if we value all human life, where's our outrage for what our country did there? Back in December of 2021. And I can show you, you want to see some badass video? And I don't want to look at anybody. I know what these people are capable of. I don't need to see it. My faith is, I understand. Hamas and these guys, they want to screw around. They are going to find out. And I support them finding out. But at the same point, we got to take the long view and understand what we're fighting, and we've got to fight it back against their theology. We've got to reach out to the people, hey, that are out here doing these things. I laugh at these people. We had some of them in here earlier that were Americans that run big spaces, and I'm like, I won't go to their spaces because number one, they're hypocrites. Number two, they have no discernment.